Hey guys, it's Jordan Claire McCraw chilling outside the front door of Deyan Audio Tarzana. So I'm bicultural, and it's actually funny because when I look back on my audiobook narration career, I became an audiobook narrator as an English teacher in rural England 15 years ago. A lot of my students had dyslexia, and they would listen to my books because they struggled to read in order to prepare for their exams. And a few years ago, I moved back to the East Coast of the United States, where I went through an almost 2-year audition process to become an audiobook narrator of fiction and nonfiction for the Library of Congress. While I was on the East Coast, I started working as a remote audiobook narrator for Deyan Audio. It was when I was out there that we did the Andromeda Saga for HarperCollins Publishers. I've since moved out to LA. We've done Utopia by Heidi Sapinka, Shades of Rust and Ruin for Bloomsbury. My absolute favorite thing about being an audiobook narrator is bringing something to life, not just for a reader, but for the author. I think it's so exciting to infiltrate another person's art and give it this new dimension of existence. I also love serving underserved communities, like the blind and physically impaired who might struggle to read on their own. And I know at Library of Congress, that was always our focus. My favorite kinds of stories to tell tend to be the stories I'm cast in. Stories of girls or women who are kind of outcasts from society, but not because they don't try and not because they don't care. It's because there's been some othering event in their lives that they have to recover from. I think in a weird way, the universe has me playing myself. My favorite role to date would have to be Andromeda from the Andromeda Saga with HarperCollins. Girls who can overcome anything. That's my specialty. Maybe get revenge on an entire galaxy. My process is very similar to that of a traditional thespian. I'm a classically trained actor. When I become a character, I disappear into them for a while. I'm a little bit Stanislavski for my sins. The most impactful book I've worked on is Shades of Rust and Ruin by A.G. Howard for Bloomsbury. The thing I love about this book, aside from the fact that it's steampunk, fantasy, teen romance, is that this is a teenage girl who is learning to contend with grief and the loss of family. I feel like there's such a dearth of narratives about teenage girls who are dealing with things that are completely beyond their capacity to cope, and the kind of resilience and artistry that's required for people that young and naive to contextualize grief and trauma and overcome it. Those out there who are thinking of becoming audiobook narrators, my biggest piece of advice would be to read aloud every second of every day. Before I ever started doing this as an English teacher, I just read aloud all day, every day to my kids. If it's something that you're really passionate about, make a demo, reach out to places like Deyan, get on a roster. As for me, fingers crossed I get some more science fiction next. I have a personal goal of memorizing as many made-up languages as possible.